warrant number 2024 A041110 1938 1937 1936. Charges are obstruction of justice, prison felony, accessory after the fact murder. I can give you a brief synopsis of facts that were recorded, Judge. Your Honor, this is an involved case out in Tippett. There are numerous players. Ms. Tippett is here before you, but she also has several co-defendants. Brandon Barnes is the co-defendant. He is charged with murder. The victim in this case is Jessica Barnes. Ms. Tippett obviously is here charged with obstruction of this prison and accessory after the fact charge. And Kendall Mims is another co-defendant as well charged with the same offenses that Ms. Tippett is charged with. Your Honor, SLED got involved in this case on September the 17th, 2024. They got a call from Chief Crosby over at the Pendleton Police Department in reference to needing some assistance involving potentially a murder case, but a missing persons case. They became involved about a week before that on September the 10th of 2024 when their officers responded to a call about a missing person, Jessica Barnes' mother, Cecilia Guevara, who is present here in the courtroom today. She notified Pendleton PD and requested some help locating her daughter. She basically stated that she hadn't seen or heard from her daughter in about a month and a half. At that point, Pendleton began an investigation. Pendleton reached out to, and here's the arrangement, Judge. There's an individual by the name of Ronald Herron. Mr. Herron is the grandfather of Ms. Mims. Mr. Herron lived in a house in Pendleton, the city of Pendleton, and I guess on the back side of that house, there's a little pool house. In this pool house, all three of these co-defendants lived, in addition to a, approximately 1-year-old child that was Miss Mims' baby by way of Mr. Barnes. They all lived in this little small pool house. Mr. Herron told law enforcement that he ended up putting a GPS tracking device onto 2 vehicles. One vehicle that was driven by Mr. Barnes, one vehicle driven by his granddaughter, Ms. Mims. He stated to law enforcement that he had financial interest in both vehicles, so he wanted to know where these vehicles were going. And 2, he also had some concerns about his granddaughter's safety, Ms. Mims. He ended up turning over the login password to those vehicles to law enforcement, and law enforcement began looking at those GPS records. And so what they ended up doing is they ended up looking back at the records and seeing that one of the vehicles between August the 2nd and August the 4th, 2024 was going to this location in Pickens County off Twin Lakes Road out there near the lake, and was over there in that location about 9 separate times during the course of that 2-day window. And they were out there at that location, in the middle of the night for all different sorts of hours. Law enforcement SLED, the next day after they got involved, they ended up going out to that road, and they ended up locating a burn pile, and they saw what appeared to be human remains out there at that burn pile. They ended up taking a canine out there that was trained in human remains detection. The dog alerted. They ended up getting anthropologists from Clemson involved, the coroner involved. They ended up collecting the items. It was ultimately determined that that was human remains, and it was linked back to human remains involving the victim in this case, Ms. Barnes. There's a lot of evidence, Judge, just in terms of Ms. Tippett and all of their involvement. But on August the 2nd, they have Ms. Tippett and Brandon Barnes going to a food line and buying a bunch of cleaning supplies. They both ultimately admitted that the cleaning supplies was used to clean up bodily fluid from the victim. Later that day, they went to Walmart in Central where they bought more supplies, a shovel, a tote that they also indicated during the course of their statements that they needed to remove Ms. Barnes' body from the pool house where she was killed. And there's video from these stores that back up their admission as well. And then I believe there was another video, I believe, that was taken. They ultimately did admit that they did take Ms. Barnes' body out there and dispose of it on August the 3rd of 2024. There's another video where they go to Lowe's and they buy some more supplies to help dispose of the body, and they ultimately admitted that to law enforcement as well. In terms of the bond, Judge, obviously you're looking at flight risk, danger to the community. On September the 17th through September the 21st, 2024, GPS record shows, and they ultimately confirmed that all three of them got into one of the vehicles and drove basically out west. They went to North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then came back to South Carolina. They were gone for about 4 or 5 days. SLED put a camera up out at the burn site on September the 22nd. The trail camera captures all three of the co-defendants going out to that Twin Lakes Road where they had previously disposed of the victim's body and then burned the body. Judge, just there's additional evidence, and I won't get into all of that, but I will say that ultimately SLED on October the 1st did interview all three co-defendants. They interviewed them at the Huntsville Police Department. Different officers were interviewing the witnesses of the co-defendants at different times. Ms. Tippett, regarding her statement, she gave basically 3 statements. First statement, she basically said that Ms. Barnes was at the house and she just left and she never saw her again. And then she changed her story when law enforcement started confronting her with some of the facts and the information they had. She stated that Ms. Barnes had committed suicide. She took a bunch of pills, and then she overdosed. And then the third story she basically gave was that it was an accident, that there was an argument between Jessica and Brandon, and that she attacked him, and that ultimately Brandon ended up strangling her and killing her. Ms. Tippett, Your Honor, she was inside the home at the time with Brandon Barnes, the other co-defendant. And we'll say this, she was not present. I think you're going to hear the bond hearing on the other co-defendant later on in the week. But as far as Ms. Tippett is concerned, she wasn't present when this whole thing went down. The other co-defendant was not present, came home after the fact, after Ms. Barnes had already been murdered. Ms. Tippett also admitted to helping dispose of the body. As far as her criminal record, Your Honor, she does not have a criminal record. One fact that Ms. Tippett told the law enforcement during her interview to them was that she lived in Aiken. She had met Brandon Barnes recently and had started communicating with him, I think, via social media. She told law enforcement that she had essentially been kicked out of her parents' house and she had nowhere to go. So that's how Ms. Tippett ended up from Aiken here in Anderson County. And so, you know, there's a lot of other things going on, but you know, Ms. Barnes had previously lost a child that Brandon Barnes was the father of. There had been a miscarriage. Mr. Barnes had a child with Ms. Dennis, and I think there was also a sexual relationship going on with Ms. Tippett as well. So all that was going on at the same time when obviously the murder happened. You know, that's essentially the facts. But the victim's mother, she is present, Judge. I don't think she wants to address the court. She is here, and she has indicated to us that she would request that the court deny bail for Ms. Tippett in this case.
Okay. What's the state's position?
In terms of
bonds,
Judge, we'll leave it to your discretion. I mean, I think that, you know, obviously there's it happened, and then they took off and went out west. I think maybe they ultimately came back home because of resources. But I think that behavior in and of itself shows potential for flight risk. We're also concerned that she has nowhere to go. I'm not sure how Mr. Gould is going to address that, but she had allegedly been kicked out of her parents' house. So we have concern about her showing up. So we would also request the court to deny bond as well.
all right, yes, sir, happy to hear from you.
May it please support, Your Honor. Ms. Tippett is 21 years old. She graduated from high school in 2022, has her CNA certificate from Greenville Tech. She worked from October 2023 until she moved in to Aiken briefly with her birth mom at NHC of Greenville. She's been in South Carolina since she was 4 years old, has no criminal record, never been arrested before, never accused of any acts of violence against anyone. points that I think are important for Ms. Tippett is that Brandon Barnes, when she went to go live with him and Kendall and Jessica, Mr. Barnes was the one that came and picked her up. She doesn't have a vehicle. So, our kind of statement of how everything happened, she had nowhere to go. She was not communicating at the time very well with her parents. She told me that she didn't get kicked out, but I don't think we're very happy with her decision to go with Brandon Barnes at that time. And so she was stuck in Anderson. Like I said, her birth mother lives in Aiken. If she were to make bond, that is where she would live at 107 Tab Drive in Aiken, South Carolina. Her father and adopted mother live in Simpsonville and have lived there since they moved up when she was 14 Florida. What makes Miss Tippett a little bit different, Your Honor, is that she only lived with Brandon Barnes and these other two women for between 1 and 2 weeks before this incident even occurred. She's not charged with the murder. She's not charged with any violent act. I do believe she's entitled to a reasonable bond, and we are open to any sort of further conditions that the court would like to put in place. I have good contact information with both her father, adopted mother, and her birth mother and stepfather. I do not believe flight risk would be an issue, and I definitely do not believe that she would be in danger. She also, just for the court, because of where the body was found in Pickens, she also has a hold in Pickens. So even if she may bond here, we have to go to Pickens as well to handle that situation.
All right, y'all, let me take under advisement. I just want to think about what we're doing here, and I also want to hear the other bond motion. So I'll rule after I hear that motion as well.
Fair enough. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll let y'all know by the end of the week.